I already mentioned that humans are special in the universe, and that has something to do with our relationship to the Creator. But before I go on with ourselves about mind and body, spirit and body, I want to look a little bit at the bigger picture. About 13.7 billion years ago, give and take a few hundred million, there was a singularity, they say. A singularity, that's a thing that's very dense, very heavy, infinitely dense, infinitely heavy, very hot, and very small. Actually, it had no size. It was just in a dot. Nobody ever duplicated something like that in the laboratory, and I doubt anybody ever will create something that is infinitely dense and infinitely heavy, but it makes mathematical sense to assume that something like that was there at the beginning of our universe. So whatever, the next moment that singularity, that infinitely dense seed of the universe began to expand, and that is called the Big Bang. A lot of very interesting things happened in a short time. It took about 10 seconds until we had protons, electrons, neutrons, all the other elementary particles. 400,000 years later, things had cooled down enough for stable atoms to exist, mainly hydrogen, helium, some lithium. So these gases then, they drifted through the ever-expanding universe, collected into clouds. Some of the clouds then contracted into stars. About 400 million years after the Big Bang, the first stars lit up. These first stars were very big, huge gas giants. They burned very quickly, but in the process, they created all the elements that exist in the universe today. So ultimately, every atom in our bodies and everything around us, they come from one of these stars, these early stars. Awesome. Awesome thought. Our sun is a third generation star. It's about 4.5 billion years old, and that's about the age of the Earth, which consists of dust that accumulated in the vicinity of the sun. Stardust that also comes from one of those early gas giants. Well, anyway, let's fast forward to the next important event in the universe, which is the emergence of life on Earth. Or maybe on other planets too, but let's focus on Earth. The related field of scientific study here is called abiogenesis. But if you go and check, we know little to nothing what life actually is and how it came about. Whatever, the earliest life forms on record, they date back at least 600 million years, probably much longer. But all the species that are around today, they go back 500 to 530 million years, when they appeared more or less suddenly, geologically speaking, over a period that still covered several million years. And this period commonly is called the Cambrian Explosion, or the Cambrian radiation. Yeah. So why do I talk about all this? Well, one point is I find it fascinating. Thank you for listening for 3 minutes. But the main reason is that all this fireworks, all this fascinating unfolding of life, the universe and everything, is the work of creation. It's the outer effects of the Creator at work. During all these times, the Creator prepared the stage, the environment, for his final and greatest creation, and that are human beings. So who are we now? I mean, we may not look like much, and some people say the planet would be better off without us. But here we're talking about the original design of things, and that is where we really shine. The essence, I would say, is that we are children of God. Okay, this is kind of a Christian term, and the Bible says it too, but don't worry, we are not going to get all religious here. I like the term because it implies that we are something very different from all the creation around us. We are also God's creations, but we are more than that. The term children first may imply these babies, little toddlers running around completely irresponsible, dependent on parents or other people to prevent them from harm. But that is not what I think when I say God's children. No, the children grow up, and once they are grown up, They are grown-ups, adults, living an independent life, a life of love, supposedly, able to receive love and to give love even more than they receive. This also refers to our relationship to the Creator. When we are mature, we are capable of receiving the full extent of God's love, and we can reciprocate it. We always reciprocate when we exchange emotions, and because God lives within us, this is how God receives love from us. So we are not just creations, we are not just pieces of art made by the greatest of all artists. No, we are love partners of God, and in love, God depends on us just as much as we depend on Him. As I mentioned earlier, the very first humans were supposed to reach this state of permanent oneness after a relatively brief growing period at the top of the completion stage. That's about the time they reach physical maturity, about the time people get married. Now imagine this divine love being at the center of all relationships. The degree to which this becomes a reality, the world as we know it ends. And new heaven and a new earth emerge simultaneously. From God's viewpoint, when we reach this state of permanent oneness, the Creator Himself enters the world of creation by becoming one with humanity. Moon sometimes refers to this as the marriage of God, but that's another movie. So, time is up. Have a nice day and check back soon.